Welcome back everyone, Oz here. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And I've got some pretty infuriating r/entitled parent stories for you all, so buckle in. Getting angry over breakfast. I'm disappointed to admit my own father was the entitled parent in this situation, but I don't think I'm the entitled kid. We were at a restaurant for breakfast, enjoying the company on our last day visiting with family. We sit down, order, and two other families sit down at the same time. Another family of 8 about 20 minutes later. While waiting for our food, which wasn't a long wait, the other families, including the party of 8, got served. No big deal. Something must have messed up. My father isn't talkative and rarely adds a conversation. He suddenly starts complaining about the wait. He went entitled parent really fast. He waved the waitress over and yelled at her, telling her that this will come out of your tip, even though it wasn't her fault at all. He argued with her, a poor lady in her 20s who barely spoke English, about how the wait was unacceptable. I yelled at him to stop, in which he left the waitress alone long enough for her to escape. She came back out saying the chefs might have messed up with the order of tickets and apologized on behalf of them. That wasn't enough for him. He went inside the restaurant, we were eating outside, and started yelling at 3 different waitresses about the horrible service, disgraceful restaurant, and how we would never come back again. I was so embarrassed and felt so bad for the waitresses that I would pull him away and tell him to stop. Everyone in the small dining area was staring at us, but especially him. After he paid and walked out to the car where the rest of my embarrassed family were waiting, humiliated, I waited for the waitress to finish her orders and tapped on the shoulder. I told her about how sorry I was and that none of it was her fault. I also said that while he won't be coming back, my family and I will come back without him. She gave me a hug and thanked me in the little English she could and told me she would be glad to see me soon. The whole ride home, he didn't speak a word. My whole family let him get away with it. In conclusion, just be nice to waiters and waitresses. They are just trying to do their job. Don't let anyone be an asshole over food. Also, to all the people in the food business, I have to admire your patience for these customers. Thank you for everything. As a little reminder guys, just as OP said, be nice to the waitstaff because they really have no control over what's going on and their job is just to literally be nice to you and to figure out what you want to eat. So be nice to them, please. My cat passed away last October. When the ground thawed, I found that he had been dug up and was gone. EB is entitled B. So I got a kitten from my cousin in late 2017 and absolutely adored him. Though once he was old enough to see out the window, he wanted to go outside. My roommates let him out, against my wishes, time and time again. He would always make his way back, but I would constantly worry and look for him if he was gone for more than a day or so. Well, after a few days, I started asking neighbors if they had seen him. A week of him being gone, I posted on my neighborhood page if anyone had seen him and to please keep an eye out. I then saw that someone had, in fact, found him. EB made their own post, saying they found a beautiful cat. He was long-haired, very soft, well taken care of, white with black spots and blue eyes. Gorgeous, but a mutt, so to speak. And whoever abandoned him was a monster. She picked him up a block from my house with his collar on. No, he wasn't chipped, I didn't think that was necessary at the time, and had every intent on keeping him. I tried to comment on the post, but it got deleted about 15 minutes later. I messaged EB privately after they took down the post, politely asking to come retrieve my cat, and that I had been so worried about him. EB saw the message and did not reply. Her kid, however, reached out to me and gave me their address and apologized for the situation. She was 15, not a little kid. I said I would be there immediately to come get him and thanked her profusely. They were only 3 blocks away from me, and so I walked there with my carrier and my backpack. When I got there, the mother answered the door, a bit confused. I told her what happened, showed her the messages, and heard my cat screaming from the other room. I should say this did not particularly alarm me, as he was always very loud, especially when he wanted to get out of a room. He very rarely, if ever, mewed. It was always screaming loud meowing. She went to go get him and her husband and son came out onto the porch on either side of me. Now, this was a huge red flag. Another little detail I should mention, I'm 4'11", female. Oh, and I walked there alone because I'm an idiot. She left the door open so I could see her walk in, go out of sight, and go get Fluffy. Now, this isn't my cat's name. Fake name because I don't want anyone to know who I am in case anyone I know ever sees this on my throwaway account. His real name was Chunkers, and he responds to it, which was also the name on his collar. that also had my name and number on it with my address, which was no longer on him when she brought him to me. When she walked out onto the porch, she was clutching him. He was struggling in her arms, very clearly distressed, and he scratched the out of her, which she deserved and he got a treat for later. EB then asked why I had to take him back because I obviously didn't want him if I let him outside. I then told her that I never intentionally let him outside and that my roommates in fact do this and that I do not approve. She huffs and asks if I want all the supplies she bought for her precious Fluffy. I kindly declined, thanked her for the offer, and she raised her eyebrows at me incredulously. Her husband and son were silent this entire time, not saying a word, which was very uncomfortable to me as they stared daggers, but her son went inside anyways once she offered, and they insisted I take the supplies. As he was gathering the supplies, EB continued to coo and tried to make it seem as if Chunkers didn't detest her. She asked where I got him, and I said he was from my cousin whose cat got recently pregnant, and that all the other kittens, now fully grown, had been accounted for. EB's son came out with armfuls of supplies. I reluctantly accepted, uncomfortably took off my backpack, and took out the carrier to make room for the supplies. He took my bag without asking, shoved in the litter, food, 2 toys, and bag of treats and zipped it up for me, which, although was a bit uncomfortable and perhaps rude, I thanked him for anyway. EB was still holding Chunkers, and at this point I awkwardly reached out to take him, and this bitch teared up. He jumped at me and clung to my shirt. I put him in the carrier easily, shut it, thanked them for the supplies again, and for returning my cat. She reminded me that if I ever change my mind, he has a loving home to go to, and she's sad to see him go. I gave a tight smile, nodded, and walked home. Fast forward to October of 2018, and since that incident, I never let him out of my sight again. I even threatened eviction to my roommates if they ever let him outside again, and told them what happened. They apologized, and we all agreed to keep him inside. Well, until they had a friend over who saw Chunker meowing at the door, asking to be let outside because cats are way too smart for their own good, and he knew this person didn't know the rules, I guess. He opened the door as I was walking into the living room, and Chunkers flew out the door. I went outside after him in my bare feet, sprinting, trying to call him, but he was too excited and I couldn't catch up. I posted immediately on the neighborhood page that he had gotten out and to please keep an eye out for him, and messaged that nice girl asking her to please not let her EB mother to take him if she sees him outside or message me. The next morning, one of my neighbors messaged me saying they saw him and they were so sorry. My heart sank. They said he was by the road a few blocks away and had seen him being picked up by a car matching EB's. They didn't know who it was, but they knew it wasn't my car as I was friendly with them. I also, being oblivious and nervous as fuck going to their house the first time, did not realize who it was at first. So I went around my neighborhood to every single house that fit that description, which wasn't much, just a small white car. Lots of apologetic no's later, I came to their doorstep. I saw the car. I almost vomited. Couldn't be. She had all my contact information and knew where I lived, right? Right? Wrong. As I approached, I saw a towel bunched up on one of their chairs on the porch, with a tuft of fur sticking out. Sobbing uncontrollably at this point, I shakily peek inside. I had to make sure. It was Chunkers. She had taken off his collar and set it off to the side, and I saw it when I picked him up. It was a matching collar to my dog, Bubby. Again, not real name. They both had bow ties and looked handsome together. They loved each other so much, they even shared a bed. Every time Chunkers would go out, Bubby would wait at the window looking for him and get very excited when he saw him when he came home. I didn't knock on the door or alert them that I was there at all. I just took Chunkers into my arms and started walking away. I was just off the porch when I heard the door open. I didn't turn around. I couldn't look at her, or I would have started something. I just hoped she wouldn't try to prevent me from leaving. Whoever it was that opened the door stepped out onto the wooden porch. I could hear them walking and stopped after a few steps. They didn't say anything, and I just kept walking. I walked home sobbing and sat on my lawn for I don't know how long, just holding him. I buried him behind my shed with his favorite toy, and with one of my stuffed animals he always tried to hump. I had to have my roommate help me dig the hole because I was shaking so badly. So while he dug the hole, my other roommate tried to comfort me, and I continued to hold Chunkers in the towel because I couldn't bear to look at him like this. I finally laid him down for the last time and marked his grave with a large rock from my yard. I planned on planting a shrub or tree on top in the spring, but not that moment. Not wanting to have to talk about it more than I had to, I posted about it on my personal Facebook, not to any groups, but this was a public post, and asked people not to bring it up, but informing them of what happened. That I buried him behind my shed with his favorite toy and his girlfriend, my stuffed animal. I posted a beautiful picture of him with his bow tie collar I had taken a few weeks prior with the explanation and left it at that. I didn't know what to do about Bubby. I couldn't bring myself to show him the body because I didn't want him to freak out or not understand. I just couldn't. So he continues to look out the window every day to look for Chunkers. Spring rolls around and I finally decided I'd walk Bubby behind the shed. I didn't know what to expect or why I finally thought it was time for Bubby to find out his friend wasn't coming home. When we got back there, the grave was dug up, the rock was displaced, there was a pile of dirt, and my shovel was laying on the ground next to it. The hole looked clean, and it was only a few days ago that the ground wasn't frozen solid, so this happened recently. I had a complete breakdown, and I screamed. I don't care if it was overdramatic, I fucking wept and sobbed ugly tears. Bubby is a very good emotional support animal and comforted me as I rushed him inside and cried on my living room floor. I was home alone when this happened, and I just cried myself out. When I finally started calming down, I went out to the shed, which had no lock on it. Who cares about some garden tools, old boxes, and my mower, right? Only the shovel was missing off the wall. I don't know who did this, but I have my suspicions, as I'm sure whoever is reading this does. I haven't done anything or even told anyone. I haven't touched the shovel, and I do not know what to do. That's it. If anything else comes of this, I'll post an update or edits as needed, but that's the end. I just needed to write this down somewhere. Small edit. I've made my profile picture a picture of Chunkers, the same I use on Facebook that I've since taken down. And my cover photo is Chunkers and Bubby sharing their bed. Thank you for all the condolences. This got way more attention than I thought it would. I am filing a police report as well. This story all around just kind of like really messed with me because I really love my pets, and the idea of someone trying to, take them when they get out, and they run away is already bad enough. But then the thought of someone, I don't know if the cat got ran over or if something happened to the cat and it died in the care of the entitled parents, but either way, the end result of them having I can't talk. The end result of OP having to go and then bury their little Chunkers, rest in peace, my dude. Then having the grave rob is just all around so unbelievably f***ed. Entitled mother at a preschool application who sees the benefit of vaccines as long as her kid doesn't have to be vaccinated. I am currently seeking childcare for my youngest, a grueling process which can basically be considered as an assessment center for toddlers. Parents have high expectations and the daycares are selective, mainly due to the fact that there are so few, as being a housewife and mother exclusively is still seen as the societal norm in my country. I attended an interview on my best behavior today. In strides entitled mother, 15 minutes late in interrupting the preschool teacher to let her know that she finds the outdoor playground small and pokey. The mood has been set. As we survey the various group rooms, entitled mother stops to corner the educator, demanding to know whether the children will be instructed bilingually. Nowhere is it stated that there will be bilingual activities, yet this is not good enough for Mummy Dearest. My child can't speak yet, but I want him to do so in various languages when he does. At the end of the rather awkward visitation, entitled mother delivers the final blow. Are all the children vaccinated before they are allowed to attend? The flustered preschool teacher states that they cannot enforce vaccination by law. I would support such an incentive except in the case of actual medical exemptions. Mother states loudly that she has a pollen allergy. So to spare her child from hay fever, she has chosen not to vaccinate her son in order to... Oh boy. In order to protect him, though he must only attend a group in which everyone else has followed the recommended vaccine schedule. Herd immunity is important after all, otherwise everyone else will make her baby sick. The other children are spoken of with disgust, with the emphasis on the word sick. So Mummy here believes everyone else should pollute their body as long as her child is spared of toxins, while it's not running the risk of contracting disease. Fuck.